Hello everyone, hopefully you guys are having a great day. I'm going to get started. Alright. There we go. I am live, everything is working great. Alright, so happy Thursday everyone, and I just thought I would get on here to talk about 1099s. It is approaching the due date for the forms to be filed to the contractors, and I just thought it'd be a great idea to come on here and just have a discussion. I did post a video earlier today talking about 1099, so go ahead and check that out if you want to know more about what they are, and I'll kind of explain a little bit here what they are as well. But just go ahead and check that video out. I'll link it in the description. But what we're going to do today is we're just going to kind of get your questions answered, talk about 1099s, and just have a general discussion. So if anyone's in chat, please go ahead and say hi. I also want to thank everyone on Twitter and everywhere else because I posted earlier today about my channel, and I just said that I'm almost to 500 subscribers. And as I'm recording this right now, I am at 499. So let's go ahead and try to get one more subscriber. I'm super excited. I'm going to be hitting 500. This is really awesome. And I just want to thank everyone who is subscribed and everyone who's watching me because I sincerely appreciate it. Okay, so let's talk about the main topic at hand today, which is 1099s. And I just want to have a discussion and talk about them and just kind of talk about the pain points about filing them for business owners, and then of course for the freelancers or contractors, what you need to do. So again, if anyone's in chat, please go ahead and say hi. I'm going to go ahead and just get started with a couple different things, but number one, that 1099s are due January 31st. Of course, if you do them by paper, I think they're due a little bit later, but they are due January 31st for e-file. Number two, if you have to amend a 1099, like if you make a mistake or something happens, just know that I found out today on Twitter that you can't actually do it with QuickBooks. In that case, I've been hearing a lot of great things about tax1099.com. So I would highly check them out. They're really affordable. I'll put a link in the description as well. Tax1099.com is a great place to get your 1099s done if you don't have QuickBooks. The other thing is if you do have QuickBooks but you don't want to file through QuickBooks, you can actually go ahead and import your QuickBooks data into Tax 1099. That'll help you as well. So you've got a lot of options there. So those are kind of some of your options in terms of filing and getting things ready. Alright, let's see. I'm just making sure I'm all ready to go here. So really, I just want to kind of talk about what we're going to do. And the thing is, we're going to be getting ready to file our 1099s very shortly. I've already filed mine for this season, although I didn't have any, but let me know if you guys have done yours. Yeah, let me know if you guys have filed your 1099s yet. So another thing that I want to talk about is I want to talk about 1099Ks for a second, because that's been really hitting the news pretty hard lately. And the thing is that 1099Ks are very interesting. So 1099Ks are used for credit card processing transactions. Historically, the rules were if you made over 20K on a credit card processor or you processed more than 200 transactions, you would be issued a 1099K form. Now, that is going to change, and it was supposed to change for this year. However, due to some pushback by the AICPA and everyone else to the IRS, and I'll explain why there was pushback in a minute, unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, because fortunately that rule has been pushed back to next year. So let me explain what the rule was. If you were to receive more than $600 in any app, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, you name it, they would send you a 1099K form. They would send you that 1099K form in whatever format you chose, whether it be mail or it would be electronic. And the rule with that is that no matter what kind of transaction it is, no matter what it is, if it's personal business, don't care. Let's just take an example. Let's just say that you like Michigan State. I do not like Michigan State at all. And you bought some season tickets. Well, then you want to go sell them to your friend and use Venmo. Guess what? Venmo will send you a 1099K because you sold Michigan State tickets. Yes, that's right. Now, of course, it's a personal thing, right? But you still have a 1099K you got to deal with. Okay, so what is this going to mean then for next year? Well, we don't really know yet, other than we know that it's going to be effect for next year. So this year you don't have to worry about it, but next year be on the lookout for that. So apart from the 1099K, really what we need to talk about is other different forms and things. So, of course, make sure that before you file your taxes, you have all necessary forms and that you have everything ready to go. I would hate for you to file your taxes and then realize you were missing a form and then you got to amend your return. Not fun. Okay, so let's see. 1099s in general, I think, can be a pain in the butt. And of course, if you don't get one, it also is a pain. And if you want to know what to do if you don't get a 1099, watch my video. Actually, Michael here in the chat edited it for me, and it's pretty awesome. So please, please, please go ahead and watch that video. I explain what to do if you don't get a 1099. But really what y'all need to do is keep good records no matter if you don't get a 1099 from a client, because keeping good records is definitely a good thing in the beginning here. Alright, so I've got Doug Oliver in chat who says hi. I've also got Michael Doe. He says, congratulations, you reached 500 subscribers. Thank you so much, y'all. I'm at 500 subscribers a few days before it was planned. So I wanted to do this before February 1st. I'm now at 500 subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So much. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Okay. Anyone have questions in chat? Anyone? Let's see. Anyone have questions? If not, I'll go ahead and talk about some more things here. So let's talk about different things here. Let's actually go a step back and let's talk about QuickBooks for a second. So I was on a conversation with people on Tax Twitter today, and we were talking about QuickBooks 1099s. And we were talking about how horrible they are. And not horrible in a bad way, but they're horrible because they advertise to the contractors. What does that mean? They basically make you sign up for self-employed. They make you have that form, and what that is basically they make you sign up for QuickBooks Self-Employed. That's right. They put a free trial of QuickBooks Self-Employed in your face, and they make you sign up for it when you fill out your 1099 and even your W-9. Personally, I think this is a horrible move, and Intuit needs to stop that right now. Here's the thing. I don't want to have my contractors get QuickBooks Self-Employed just because they filled out my W-9. A lot of them don't want QuickBooks Self-Employed, and then you're going to try to throw a free trial in their face and then sometimes not even tell them that it's a free trial and then be like, hey, your QuickBooks Self-Employed trial's up? That is absolutely horrible, and that is very bad behavior. If I would have known that they would have done that, I would have not went with QuickBooks in the first place for payroll and 1099s, but it's too late now. So, that is my rant. Now, what do we do about this? Well, the first thing we need to do is stop using QuickBooks for 1099s if we don't want to subject our contractors to QBSE stuff, QuickBooks Self-Employed. And again, for that, I'd recommend tax1099.com. Alright, so Doug says, what is the form that contractors receive? Doug, that is a 1099 form. That's exactly what we're talking about right now, so stay tuned to learn more. Okay, so, yes, QuickBooks. I'm extremely frustrated about them, and I do like QuickBooks Payroll because it's very convenient. However, knowing what I know now, if I would have done it differently, I probably would have gone with a different provider. But, it's too late now, and I think it's an okay provider, QuickBooks is, but I think that this whole contractor thing in 1099s is really, really, really making me absolutely upset. Now, let's talk about W-9s for a second. So the W-9 is a form that contractors fill out to give the payee of the 1099, the sender, the information so that they can fill out the 1099, right? It has their social security number or EIN. It has their home address or business address, yada, 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 okay? Now, QuickBooks, when you fill out a a W-9 form, and if you're a contractor on someone else's company, then what they make you do is they also throw QuickBooks Self-Employed in your face. Well, isn't that awesome? It sure is. So, QuickBooks, stop throwing QBSE in people's faces. They don't want it. Please don't. Instead of throwing QBSE in everyone's faces, maybe instead QuickBooks, just offer someone QuickBooks Online. But don't throw QBSE in our faces. We don't want it. So, the thing is also, if for some reason your contractor doesn't fill out the form in 24 hours, and basically they wait for more than 24 hours, you have to resend the invite and then go into vendors and merge the two vendors so you can resend the invite. How broken is that system, folks? It's pretty broken. Okay? We should not have to recreate vendors because our contractors didn't fill out the 1099 form in 24 hours. That is absolutely crazy. Because then I have to merge vendors and it's just absolutely awful. I have to merge the profiles. No, no, no bueno. I don't like it. Okay, so Doug Oliver says, I'm asking because I got one in the mail. Doug, yes, you probably did. So, I'm not sure what you did, right, if you were self-employed for someone. So, you would have to report that on your taxes. And if you want to know more, then I can do the video, like I send you that video, or I'll just kind of talk about it here. So, what to do if you do get a 1099? How do you do it if you're first time self-employed? Let's talk about it. So, if you're self-employed for the first time, you don't know what to do. Number one, I would scan a copy of that 1099. I'd try to get that electronically. Number two, when you file your taxes, I would use TurboTax. That's my preferred vendor. I love TurboTax. Of course, if you have a very complicated tax return, then I do not recommend TurboTax. I recommend you seek the help of a tax professional. Okay, and number three, what I would do next is I would go ahead and take a picture of that and deduct all your expenses related to that. Doug, maybe you got it from me this year. I don't know because you never worked like 2022 with me, so it was 2021. So I'm not exactly sure though, but you still need to report it no matter what. So basically you want to deduct all of the deductions because remember, if you're 1099, you're subject to self-employment tax. Well, what is self-employment tax, you ask? Self-employment tax is basically 15%. It's all of your FICA, Medicare, Social Security, yada, yada, yada stuff all into one. But instead of paying the employee portion only, unfortunately, you're self-employed, so guess what? You get to pay all of it. So that means that you get to pay the 15%, the employer and employee portion. And that's why deductions are so critical. If y'all aren't deducting stuff, if you're self-employed, then we need to have a talk. Because if you don't deduct anything and you just say, hey IRS, here's some money, have a great day, then you are giving our government way too much money and you're not getting anything back. So, long story short, y'all need to start deducting. Now, what can you deduct? Well, I'm going to try to go through a list. I'm not a full tax professional yet, but again, if you have any questions, feel free to consult your tax professional. So what I would say is, first, any necessary, but, try that again, anything necessary for doing business. So let's just say you helped with, I don't know, accessibility testing. Well, a computer, for example, or maybe even like part of your internet. If you're working from your home office, that's a great deduction you can take. Think about part of your phone bill because you have to communicate with people. Think about, a new phone, right? If you were to buy a new phone, think about, If you were a driver, your car, your gas, your mileage, car maintenance, car repairs, even car loans. Think also about office supplies, whether that's pens, pencils, computer software. Even if you buy like a domain for a website, marketing, if you buy stuff on like Fiverr or Upwork, or even other contract labor, or if you have a car or a truck, like I was saying, and if you had to buy like inventory, there's so many things that are deductible. You just need to know what will be the best for your situation. So, what I would recommend is talking to someone like myself who will help you to be able to understand your deductions. It will definitely save you the amount of money that you would pay me is what you'd be able to save in taxes or more. So, basically, if you pay me whatever amount of money, and then I would save you a lot more, then you basically get my investment back, if that makes sense. So, if you are unsure about what to deduct, like I said, talk to a tax professional because, they'd be able to help. Or if you don't want to talk to a tax professional, go on TurboTax and do the expert mode and have them help you. Do something because you need to get deductions. Now, one thing I would not say to do is use H&R Block if you're self-employed because they will not help you with any deductions. True story from Michael, who's watching. So please, get deductions. So Doug, I hope that kind of helps with your situation there. Alright, let's see. I'm just checking my chat. Alright. So yeah, those are kind of some of the things that you need to be on the lookout for. And I think that the other thing you need to figure out is, what other things can I deduct? So once you get all that deducted, then that will be helpful. Now, in the case of Social Security, if you get SSI, then basically what happens is they take your net self-employment income, so that means that's all the deductions, right? Everything after deductions. So that's why it's so important to have deductions, because if you're in self-employment, if you're on SSI, then you want to try to maximize your SSI return, but you can't do that if you're making however much on self-employment. You need to report the amount that is your net. So let's talk about some terms here, y'all. Net. Net is the amount of income that you receive after all deductions and taxes have been taken out. Your gross income is your income that you receive before taxes or deductions. So, when you're talking to Social Security, what you need to do, if you're in this situation, because I know some of y'all are, you have to do this. You have to look at your net self-employment expenses, and tell Social Security that. Now, they may also want you to give them your 1099s as well. So be on the lookout for that. But if you don't get a 1099 from a client, then you really can't do that. So another thing that they may ask for is your P&L statement. What is a P&L statement? It is a profit and loss statement. A P&L is a statement that businesses use to see how profitable they are. So it shows all of their expenses and it shows all of their income. And it's a very important statement to have so that you are aware of how much you make. So, long story short, keep track of your expenses, report the net self-employment to Social Security, and make sure that you are taking every deduction possible. So, any other questions? What do we got? What do we got, people? Anything else in chat? Yeah, because I would say that we really need to make sure that we are taking everything that we can, because we don't want to give the IRS too much money. That's no fun. And again, if you don't get a 1099 from a client for some reason and you're expected to be due one, then you need to talk about that. Now, let me revisit topic. And that is when you need a 1099. So here are the rules. You need to be 1099 if A, you were paid by check or ACH. B, were paid by a credit card processor, although they'd be sending you a 1099. But of course, if you make over $600 in any capacity, you need a 1099. Now, if you're self-employed in general and make over $400, then your deductions need to be started to be kept because you are liable for self-employment tax. So, basically, if you were paid via ACH or payroll, then you need a 1099, and typically the form that you'd be getting from your client is called a NESC, non-employee compensation. So that would be a form basically saying that this is compensation for non-employee, right? Because if you're an employee, you get a W-2. So this is a 1099 compensation form. No, this is a 1099 NESC form. Okay. Then what you'll need to do is you need to also think about if the vendor that you paid was an LLC or a sole proprietor or a corporation. Now, typically, if the LLC is a corporation, they do not need a 1099, although I was seeing something on Twitter that was saying differently, so I don't want to say this for sure because I might be proven wrong. But typically, you don't need a 1099 if you're a corporation. So if you have the word Inc., like if you say Taylor's Financial Services Inc. Incorporated, then that would not be a 1099, right? But if you have an LLC that's taxed as an S-Corp, then I think you would not need a 1099, but again, I want to check to make sure. I don't want to say anything that's incorrect, because these rules are always changing, folks. And now, if you are a 1099, if you're a vendor that needs a 1099 and you are a sole proprietor, then yes, you do need a 1099. If you're a single member LLC, of course, and partnerships do not, although the partners of a partnership get a K1 and all that stuff. We're not going to talk about K1s because that's a whole other thing, and I frankly don't know anything about that. So, we're not going to talk K1s today. But, when I take my tax class, which I am, I'm so excited, y'all. I'm taking a tax class in May. I'm going to be studying to become an enrolled agent so I can do tax returns next year. So be on the lookout, folks, because I'm here and I'm going to take over. No, I'm not. But I'm here and I'm going to be able to do tax returns next year if everything goes planned. So be on the lookout, folks. Okay, so do I have any more questions? What do I got? Any more questions? Anything? If not, I think that's all I really have, if no one else has anything. But I hope this helps. Alright, so I think I'm going to go ahead and end it. It's just a quick stream for tonight. But I think that's going to go ahead and do it. If you have any more questions, this is your last chance, but I hope this gave you a short introduction in answering questions for 1099. Alright, I hope you guys have a great day, and we're going to talk soon. I'm going to be recording the Book Site podcast tonight. I'm going to be talking about automation with Michael Babcock, so be on the lookout for that. That'll be coming out in a few weeks. But other than that, folks, have an awesome night and talk soon.